survivors of DV
Yeah.
never get to their full potential if they don't have the right environment.
That's
And I guess I'll use it in the analogy like of a plant. If you take a plant and you plant it in this soil today for 2 months, and you move it again to this one, and you move it again to there, it's going to grow a little bit or just a tiny bit, but it's never going to get to its full potential. For DV children, because there's no transitional pathway, we never get to our full potential of what we could be.
Hi, Kim. Good afternoon, and welcome to our episode 6 recording of our podcast. So my name is Caroline Phansi, CEO and founder of Contento Social Homes. As you all know, we look after women that are fleeing from domestic violence and are currently running a campaign entitled A Home for Every Woman Survivor, where we are trying to raise an awareness for the need for social housing for women that are fleeing from domestic violence, self-contained homes that they can actually live in on their own. We do a good job looking after women in our shared accommodation, but we want the women to be able to move on and live independently in their own homes. So I've got here today a lovely guest, Kim Hansen. Kim is a she'll tell you a little bit more about herself anyway. But I met Kim at one of our events, and we got talking, and she told me about a story about how she had to live in a refuge at a younger age, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about it today. So welcome, Kim, and thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for taking the time, to speak to me about my experiences and stuff. What you're doing is an amazing work that you do. And it does have my heart because of my personal experience.
Thank you. Right, Kim, so do you want to just give us a bit of a background on who Kim is now? Before we got back to where you lived in the refuge. So what have you managed to achieve for yourself, or you managed?
Okay. So Kim now, this is years on. I've got a scientific background, so I work within a scientific role. So I'm a healthcare scientist. Professional doctorate student. I also am involved in health and social care businesses, work alongside my husband with some of the businesses as well. So that's what we do on a humbling level.
Amazing, Kim. You are well achieved. Obviously, like I said, I met you as a panelist at a very prestigious occasion, an event, and I'd not known you before. No. The fact that we shared the stage means that you've achieved something big for yourself. So hands up to you for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And what touched me and what caught my eye, obviously, was when you shared how you lived in a refuge. When I talked about that, I run refuges, and you were like really interested in obviously what I do. So do you want to take us back then to that experience of you going into the refuge? If you want to go into details of what led you to going to the refuge, that's fine. But we can start from when you entered the refuge if you're not comfortable about talking about the rest of the story.
Okay. Yeah. So my mum, I guess I'll start in that because I think this is the context of the story. Yeah. My mum has got 3 biological kids, so older brother. I've got an older brother, then me, then comes my younger brother, and then we've got half sisters and from my dad's side as well, who are older. Okay. So we're quite a blended family and stuff like that. My dad was, so he was he was violent.
I do understand that you say to me that you now have a very good relationship, and some of the things might not be comfortable to because you're going back to unearth. This is why I said if you're not comfortable going back to the history, we can start from when you entered refuge. That's fine.
No.
So I guess whichever way.
And I think that was the unique thing about when I met you as well. It's just like it feels like it's been a full circle of healing for us, and we've used all these resources along the way to get here. So unfortunately, at that time, my dad was there was serious DV at home. We were in the country for a few years and quite a short space of time and stuff. And I guess growing up, we thought DV was normal because in the household, that's how it was, which was quite sad. So when we came here, and yes, I guess my mum tried to get help from people and stuff like that. And I guess when we do full circle, she also understood that my dad needed help. And I think maybe sometimes he needed a lot of help and support with certain things. maybe sometimes people always ask, like, why do you put your children through that, or why as a woman do you have to go through that, or whatever. So I feel like, you know, that syndrome of like going back, people like, just leave. It's not always easy, because there's always complications to it, besides love, besides knowing the person. There's always that. So unfortunately we saw a lot of bad things. The violence was quite bad in terms of the hitting, breaking of glasses on my mum, just horrible incidents that also led social care to get involved in a certain circumstance. And not going too much into detail, but anyway, so there were really big incidents that happened, and we ended up, first of all, I think, so one of the biggest incidents that happened here in the UK was Mum and Dad were at home arguing over something, and me and my younger brother were at home, and my older brother had gone, and my cousin had gone out, and they were arguing, and all of a sudden, and I guess we were always taught not to get involved in my mum and dad's arguments, so we'd always go somewhere and just kind of stay out of it. And then at one occasion, they were arguing, and all of a sudden, I just saw my dad break the glass on my mum's head, so she started bleeding from her head, and it felt like she'd lost. Like, she was just laying there on the floor and like blood coming. And I remember just grabbing my brother and screaming and being like, Dad, stop, you're going to kill my mum. And I feel like that was the very first time I kind of like got involved in it, because even though there were things that had escalated before, like it was happening live in front of us. I don't know, like normally we'd run to the other room and try and stay out of it. Like, he never hit us or anything like that. It was always the violence towards my mum. Anyway, so that happened, and obviously it scared us, and I thought, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to my mum? Is she alive? And I was trying to drag her and get her. And I think my dad also got shocked about what was happening as well. And you just saw blood all over, and you're just like, but luckily she was conscious and she was okay. So I remember just trying to pull her, like trying to get her, and I was trying to scream and like help my brother and stuff like that. But at that point I was just like, my mum needs help. And then she was also lying there, I'm like, she needs help, and I don't know where to get the help. And then I just grabbed my younger brother, ran down the stairs, no shoes on, and ran to a sister who, no, a woman at church who was, you'd call her sister so-and-so or whatever at church, and ran to house. And we had no shoes on. And this is literally in the streets of London, like, and we ran to, and house wasn't close. It was past our school and then run down the road. And it was night. And this is me and my younger brother just running down the road barefoot, screaming. But I know we needed help. And I know it's sometimes calling the police, but I just didn't know what to do. But as the older one at that point, and that core memory always stays with me, because I'm just like, that was horrible. So anyway, got to there and banged, trying to tell her what was happening. Fast forward the story, obviously, a lot of people got involved in terms of the police and all of that type of stuff, and a lot of things led to it. And we stayed at the sister's house. She opened her door for me and my brother, because the school was quite close. After a while, it became a bit much for her. But that's the good thing about having people around church that care and want to help. But you realize that, you know, the family need help. So at that point, we went to go and stay at a refuge. I don't know the details of how we got to the refuge, but what I do know is we were staying in Hackney. And we got placed at a refuge in Brixton. And at that, I don't remember seeing my older brother for a little bit or anything. But when we went to the home, it was a room. The house was good condition, really nice. Each woman it was quite a big house actually. There were 3 floors. So it was one of those old Brixton Victorian houses that got loads of space. And we were like on the middle floor, and our room had got like double beds and a single bed. So you could ideally sleep 5 people in there. But I never understood why it was only just for me, my younger brother, and my mum. Like my older brother wasn't allowed to come.
So at that point, it wasn't explained to you why your older brother didn't come?
I remember the first going like, yes, I was just trying to ask. And then I think mum, over when she was a bit better, kind of explained like, oh, he's not allowed to come, you know, because of his age. And I noticed that when we got to know the other families around, that there were no boys over a certain age. It was just young boys or girls. And, you know, there was no young boys within the other ladies' children that were there. So it was a thing. So I kind of knew it wasn't a personal thing. It was something that had, you know, unfortunately was a rule. But what that did was over the course of the years, me and my younger brother had to travel from Brixton to Hackney for school daily. Get a train. It would walk to the station, get a train, then get a bus. It was a really long journey, and exhausting. And my mum always used to kind of feel sorry for us and stuff like that because of how far it was. But I will tell you this: being at the Refuge felt so safe.
Good.
It was one of the first times that I felt like it's safe. Like mum was okay, she was safe. And she went through severe depression when she was there. There's times I could be on the bed and wouldn't be able to wake up, or she was just going. I guess when you coming from a different country, you come into this country, or your marriage is obviously breaking up. You go through DV. There's a lot. You know, as I'm old, I'm realizing, oh my God, what type of strength that woman had. Like my mum has not had. So I guess when I think about all, we got the opportunity to have our mum there, although she was going through what she was going through, but she was still around.
Yeah.
Whereas my older brother went to go stay with family, and even and his outcomes were obviously, he didn't get that same opportunities we had, different outcomes. I think he didn't even finish some of his schooling and stuff like that, so he had to go into work to look after himself. And when you think about it, it's so sad. I think that's one of the things that does break my mum's heart. Because as much as you can try and do so much for everybody, it's like for all your children, like what can you do
if your hands are tied and you can't do anything about it? I know. I'm sorry to take you back, Kim. I know we're probably opening up a bit of some old wounds and stuff like that. I mean, the objective obviously is not to re-traumatize you and to re-hurt you. We are trying to help other women so that they don't have to go through what you had to go through. And thank you for that statement that when you were in Refuge, you felt safe. Contento Social Homes runs refuges and obviously hopes to give that safe space for women. Do you mind talking a little bit more about what support you got while you were in Refuge?
Yeah, so we had downstairs, so you'd have the rooms upstairs, and then as you walked in, you'd have an office. So there's an office for, I think it's a social worker, I'm guessing,
support worker,
that's the word. That was there. And then you'd have the lounge, the living room, and then other facilities. So, and then we'd have one kitchen in the middle and one at the top. Okay. A ground floor and one at the top, so everybody could access it. And it was well organized. It was like a home away from. It was home. It was basically I felt so safe. Because everybody just was okay. Yes, they're going through things. Mum always used to have meetings with her. She'd always be like, "Oh, I'm going to go and see the sport work. I'm going to do this if you want to change." But I remember it was Christmas time. And I always remember this. And there was a tree. And they got us presents. Like they got presents, little presents, and they weren't like the most. But it was just the fact that they treated us like it was home. They would decorate. They would. It just felt like a support system, and mum, when she had questions, would always be able to ask the support worker and stuff like that, and even certain things that she was unsure about. And the facilities were really good. It was clean. The women worked together. And you know what was quite huge? That was the first time I think we kind of lived with people with other cultures as well, because we were obviously involved in Heritage Youth. We lived with Jamaicans. We lived with English. Like there was just so many different cultures all under one roof. Whereas before, you'd live in your own homes, but you kind of got to speak to different kids and got a bit of exposure. But I think we all had one thing that was like, for the women that had families, we all were missing our other sibling if it was a boy, you know, or something. So that was the thing that was quite sad about the whole place, but I would say. But other than that, and you know, even as I've got older, I've spoken to so many people that have gone to DV homes, and some people say that as I got older, I obviously got involved with some other work that's been happening within DV. And some women who have been at DV homes have said that it wasn't a great experience for them. It was the worst. And I'm like, actually, mine was the best. And I went back to that home twice. Even though it was far, like we went back twice. So for me, I was just like, actually, ours was good. It was clean. It was nice. We had a bath. We had a good facilities. We felt safe. We felt supported. The families, I remember even at Halloween, which I wasn't meant to be celebrating anyway. When at Halloween, we went trick-or-treating with the kids.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was out doing trick-or-treating, and we're throwing eggs, and I was just like, oh my God. And I remember getting an egg actually smashed on and actually screaming and being like, never doing this again. So there's like those cool memories as kids where you were like,
actually able to create. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I like the terminology that you used, that it was a home away from home, because this is our desire, this is our aim, that we realize that women are coming from homes. So when they come into a refuge, we don't want them to feel like they're now in an institution. We want them to feel like they are at home. And one of the mantras that we actually live by is that we are not going to put someone in a home that we wouldn't live in ourselves.
100%.
So our homes are very homely. We try and make them as homely as possible. I mean, if you do have a chance at some point, I can take you around and just go and see some of the homes. And I liked as well the point that you just raised about the different cultures, because one of the houses that I actually went to see the other day, I was so amazed. And because obviously I don't get involved in the referrals, but I also once a year towards Christmas I go around and give chocolates and biscuits and to everybody. And I saw in this home they were saying that there was a lady from Turkey, Pakistan, India. The other one was from Eritrea.
Wow.
It was a big mixture, and what I like is that they gelling very well, getting along very well, as much as they might have different cultures and different ways of doing things, but because they have got a common issue that they're dealing with, so they understand each other and they're supportive of each other. So that's what is lovely about Refuge. So sometimes when you hear the word Refuge, someone might think, oh my God, it's a horrible place, but it's not. It doesn't necessarily have to be. Of course, I'm going to say, to speak for those that probably don't do a good job and don't look after their houses, but our aim as Contento social homes is that people feel like they're safe. First of all, that's 100%. The most important, and then feel like they are at home and feel like they belong to a family. As much as it's all strangers, but if you create that home environment, then everybody can feel like, oh, okay, this is a safe space for me to rebuild my life and get going. I liked as well what you described. I mean, I want to say big up to that Refuge that looked up to you. It sounds like you're describing Contento social homes, because you're saying that the support workers were always available for your mom, always able to answer her questions, able to guide her. And that's what we aim to do as well. That's what we do as Contento social home. So we pride ourselves in producing very good results and producing giving home ladies a home that they can actually feel safe and they can actually call it home as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. You mentioned that the Refuge was in Bristol and then you went to school in Hackney. I'm not in London myself. What sort of distance are we talking?
It's a long distance. So I think the train journey alone would take about 40 minutes. So it's like from the start of the Victoria line to the end of the Victoria line. That's just that's just the train journey. Then you'd have to do a bus ride as well. So maybe I would say about an hour 40. Maybe.
And how old were you then?
We were going to primary. So I must be in year 6. Was year 6.
Oh.
And he's 3 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So he'll be and then this is, I think for my mum it must have been so hard, because even this once, those we had no mobile phones at that point, right? So even when we were going on the train, we'd wake up really early and would fall asleep, and like would walk to the train station, first Brixton train station, get on the train. We knew it was a long journey, so you'd fall asleep for a little bit. You'd get up. Then on the bus, you'd have a bus ride again, and then you'd fall asleep on that or whatever. But this once, and I have never been so scared. So I was with my younger brother. We basically were on our way home after school. Got on the train journey at Finsbury Park. From Finsbury Park, we were going to get off at Brixton, because that was the last stop. You'd get, and I think there's Stockwell just before, if I remember the trains correctly. And then, so he fell asleep or whatever, and I fell asleep and he was falling asleep. But we'd always make sure that we fell asleep like on the side, we'd like lean on the glass panel, and
so that you
sleep. And also that you'd not lean on somebody as well. So he would be opposite me, and I'd be here and he would be sleeping, kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, I think I woke up, he woke up, and he just jumped up and he just ran out. And it was the wrong station, Stockwell. And as I got up, I was like, no, it's the wrong. And I was trying to get up and get to him. The doors closed. I have never been so scared.
He's out, you're in, the bus is moving and
the
going
train's
away.
gone. So it's going to the last stop, and I'm like, get on the next one. And I'm like, do I wait for him at Brixton? And I'm like, I don't even know how to. And we're young, we're like in year 6 and year 3, I suppose. And you're just like, what do I do? So sadly, I feel like, yeah, there's those things that people don't realize, like we were exhausted and all those things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm now waiting at Brixton. I'm like, my mom, oh my God, where's my brother? He's going to kill. Do I go back? If I go back, I might miss him. So I said, wait on the platform, Kim, and wait if he comes. So I'm waiting. I'm like, I hope he gets. And luckily, the good thing about the tubes is that they every 10 minutes
they're
or
quite
something
regular,
like that. They're quite regular.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, some people are like coming off, and I'm like, I can't see him. Where's he?
Yeah.
And I'm very protective over my younger brother, and I'm like, I've lost him. And he's good. I don't want him to be scared or panic or anything like that. And then all of a sudden he walks and he's just like, and then we just hug each other. I'm like, you listened. I was just like, get on the train and come. But it's all that fast thinking that I feel like sometimes even as, oh, but that feeling was so horrible. Like even now I can still visualize it. Just like, and I know even telling my mum, you're like, how do you even tell her? And even when we were walking along the Brixton High Road, even though we were year 6 and 3, even if it was dark, like winter gets dark, I'd hold his hand. We'd be holding each other, holding hands.
I know the feeling very, very, very well. We went to Italy, many years ago with my children. It was me and my older son and my my younger one. Younger one is in my hand. That's fine.
Yeah.
Older one jumps out of the bus.
Oh my God!
And the bus, and we're in a strange country we've never been. It was our very first day there, so I know exactly what you know, what you're describing.
Oh
honestly, my heart would have really jumped out, literally.
And you obviously got him out. How did you get back?
Well, I got off the next station. So fortunately, because the thing is, what just scares you is you just don't know how long this journey is going to be while he's left out there.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I then hung with the driver, and then the driver stopped the next stop, and then I walked there. He was still there, so it was but
bless him.
I know.
It's horrible. It's like your heart just leaves your chest.
I know exactly that feeling. Yeah, it's horrible. But anyway, so you say when you went into Refuge, your older brother couldn't come in with you.
Yeah.
So how old was he?
So if I'm year 6, how old are you in year 6?
He would have been in secondary school, whatever year.
I was in, so he was in, he must have finished his O levels at that point. So 8, GCSEs. He would have finished his GCSEs.
Really? Oh, is that much older than you then?
He's 3 or 4 years older.
Yeah. So he probably would have been like 15 or so.
15, just about getting to GCSEs maybe. Or something like that. I don't know,
So he couldn't come in
so he
to the
couldn't
Refuge
come in,
with you.
For that
Why?
reason.
Because the Refuge only provides one room.
Yes, it only provides one room.
And there's age restrictions.
And there's an age restriction on it.
And so your family had to be separated.
Yeah, I think the sad thing is our family had to be separated during a time where we should have been together.
Yeah, it's the hardest time.
The hardest time.
You need each other for the support.
I felt I wanted I felt like I was responsible for my own brother. But
I'm also tying it in with this story that you're saying, because if your older brother would have been,
I was just like, I wish
you wouldn't have had to carry that burden on your shoulders. Yeah.
And I feel like the thing about siblings is we all carry out a different role, no matter what we go through as a family unit, whatever. And especially knowing that I wish my older brother was there. There's times I was just like, this is hard. I don't know what to do with mum. Unfortunately, certain circumstances make you grow up quicker, and I feel like I matured quite quickly. Because there was not that time, not that. And I feel like now I'm very close to my older brother, and I'm close to my siblings, but I feel like I really needed
him to be with you.
He would have an answer. You'd know how to make mum better, even though I can't, or make her smile, or.
How long did it take for you to be reunited with your brother then? Was it after you moved out of Refuge?
I think he ended up staying in a different side of London. So he started staying in another place called Healingdon, which is on the other side, so on the outskirts, so towards West London on the other side. And we were like in East, and then I don't know if he was starting to work or do something, I can't even remember. Tried a bit of college or something like that. And then he kept moving from bit bit to bit, place to place, and stuff like that. And I guess at that point, what happened next? No, so when we moved out, I have no. I think
you don't have a proper recollection
of this, but what I do remember is one of the first times we moved out of the refuge, we went into a room. It was just like a little room, but it was much smaller than the refuge. Shared accommodation, like an HMO, basically.
So was that mum
Mum's
looking
private,
for her own house?
Yeah,
she couldn't afford
100%. She couldn't afford any, and so it was like an HMO kind of thing, and it was just like a little room, much smaller than the refuge. There's just one double bed, and then you have one to sleep on the floor and stuff like that. So but it was closer to school. It wasn't as far. And I feel like at that point it was so hard because we moved into this place where we don't really know these people. They weren't as friendly with the other place, and you didn't have your own bed anymore. You didn't. I know she made the decision for whatever reasons, whether I don't know, but anyway, it was horrible. But Mum would always say it's short term. It's and we'll just be okay, and she'll try her best. And then we moved back into the refuge again. And I don't know. I think that might have been the big incident of where, another big incident that happened, and I think police got involved and stuff.
You bring out very, very crucial points, and really aligning with the cause and the campaign that we're running, that every woman survivor needs a home. And most cases, if a woman is moving out of refuge, they are trying to get a private rented accommodation. It's very expensive because they probably don't have a job, so they wouldn't be able to afford. So your mom's example is a classic example of what we are trying to highlight, that she had to go into a room which was HMO because that's all probably that she could afford at the time. It wasn't ideal for the family. It wasn't. You didn't even have a bed. You didn't have a space for a bed. Right. You bring out very critical points that highlight the issues that we're trying to raise an awareness of, as a refuge provider, that a woman that is fleeing from domestic violence, when they're ready to move on, or there are circumstances that need her to move. For example, she needed you to be closer to school because it took you an hour and a half. She couldn't afford to rent from private landlords. All she could afford was a room, which wasn't enough for you. You were living with strangers. I'm pretty sure it was mixed. It was male and everything, which could have put you in danger as well. So the point that we are trying to highlight, and the issue that we're trying to highlight, that as much as we do a good job as providing refuge, when the ladies are ready to move on, or there are reasons why they need to move out of refuge, they can't afford private rented accommodation. They don't have references to get them onto the private rented accommodation. Private rented accommodation needs them to raise a deposit, which in most cases, a woman that is fleeing from domestic violence would not have anywhere, because they would have not been working. As long for them to stay in the refuge, they can't be working. If they work, they only probably can work about 20 something hours. So they can't afford to raise deposit plus 1 month's rent and then furnish a full house. So that's what we're trying to highlight as an issue, that we need to work with partners, social investors, whoever, the government, to release funding for us to be able to create the spaces, this move and accommodation for these ladies. Another point that you highlighted was your separation from your brother. You needed your brother. This was a crucial moment in your life where you needed to be together to that family support with each other, right? And you also highlighted that your brother, because of lack of mom's parental oversight, didn't have good outcomes in life that you would have had if probably as you did yourself, because you had mom looking over you, directing you, and everything like that. So is there anything that you would want to say, for example, maybe let's say to government, to people that make policies, local authorities that give out accommodation, to highlight as to make sure that this issue is escalated to the people that actually make the right decision. Is there anything that you'd want to comment and say?
Sorry, like I feel like it's really emotional. Like even when we're talking
I
about it, I get
understand.
emotional. But
Yeah.
I think
And
for
if
me,
you
it's a
do want
very
us to
important.
take a break, you'd let me know.
Thank you. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a really important issue that I feel like the policies or the fund or the government don't really understand it impacts people's lives.
Yeah.
I feel like when we talk about health, we talk about health and social care, we talk about children that are looked after. They've got a pathway from being looked after to semi-independent housing, that they move from being looked after, or clinical cases. There's always a pathway for them how to step down from where they've needed extra help from the government in different ways or different scenarios. I don't feel that there's a pathway for women in DV and children in DV. It's like, okay, we'll help you here, and then, well, from my take, I'm not. They may be, but but I feel like a pathway should be created for the women and the children in DV housing, because they are the most vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
They are at a time where they need the most support. And even afterwards, it's like they're learning to build again. So you need that help. You need to be able to have that home and stuff like that. I mean, we went from being in a environment that was quite good in the DV home. We were one of the lucky people that had a really good DV home, good support and stuff like that. And for whatever reasons, we needed to move to being in a little room. That was depressing for my mom. She went through depression. It was horrible for us because we didn't know, you're staying in a room, you're sleeping on bed, and you're just like, wow, this is the lowest. And we'd never, and then you go from going to school, you have to act normal, it's normal, whatever. But I know she was doing her best, and we always knew she was doing the best that she could. And then your brother's over there, so your family is broken. He's going through what he's going, so you can't really communicate or talk to each other. And then you go from that to, I think in the end, when my mum finally was able to get a flat, it was because something to do with her sister kind of helped her out or something like that. But I don't really know. So, but I would say there should be a pathway for people to get help. 100%. I know that there's campaigns, there's charities that help with certain things, but as much as you've got the charities that help in crisis, which is women in DV, what happens to building after the crisis?
Exactly.
So you've got the crisis management, which the government have got right. And obviously you have to regulate the services. But what happens after the crisis?
That's the point that we're trying to highlight. We are exactly raising that same point. It's as if you're actually reading my scripts, really, or at least seeing what I see, because I mean, I'll salute our government for at least acknowledging the problem, 100%, providing that provision for women to be in a refuge, which is why I'm saying that we do an amazing job to take people out of danger, put them in a safe place. But then after this, it's just like it just stops here. And if you let a woman out of refuge into the community without the proper support, you said your mom had to go back to refuge after she'd moved into that 1-bedroom house because there wasn't that support. So we might be paid for the rent while she's in refuge. After that, there's no grants for us to be able to continue to support people, and we end up doing it out of our own will. But I want to believe that for somebody, for example, let's say they've just come from their home, they've fled from domestic violence, and in most cases they will have suffered from financial abuse, so they might not have been the one that was responsible for paying any bill. So all of a sudden, they've got this huge responsibility that is just coming upon them, because when they're in refuge, we are taking care of the bills, so they're not having to look after any bills. So you give them a house, or even they will move out into one bedroom, whatever house or whatever, it's a room. All of a sudden, they have to pay electricity, gas. It's such a big step. So we are asking for transitional housing, move on accommodation. So women move from refuge. We want the support from the government to be able to move them into some continued support, a level of support. Obviously, it's going to be a step down support, but at least let us all be funded to continue to go out to that woman in her own home, that she has her own bedroom. Her children have got their own bedroom. She can decorate her own room. She can call this a home. There is some stability, because you mentioned about school. So mom moved because you needed to be next to school, and then you moved back to Refuge, and maybe I don't know where you moved to after that, which is like a lot of moves. And what if we had these new homes and transitional homes, a woman can be there for as long as she wants, and the children can have stability. They know they're going to school. So if your mom knew that there was stability, maybe when she moved out of Refuge, she might have changed your schools to whatever was closer. But she couldn't afford to do that because this was temporary. Refuge is temporary, so you can't make major changes to your life just because of something that's temporary. So these are the issues that we're trying to highlight. These are the things that we're trying to say. As much as we're doing a good job of averting danger, creating refuge spaces, let's continue with the success so that we don't set the women to fail, so that we don't make them feel like I was better off with the perpetrator.
So for me, I feel transitional homes are really important. I feel like one of the things that did affect me when I was young and even to adulthood is stability. And I think people need to understand that stability is important for anyone to grow. Like I look at my peers, I look at myself. When I compare the both of us, I see that I could have achieved so much more if I had a stable environment. And a stable environment is meaning that I feel safe. It's an environment I can grow. We can grow together as a family, especially after such traumatic events. We can change even the way emotionally trajectory of us growing as well. And I feel like certain times when and I guess I'll use it in the analogy like of a plant. If you take a plant and you plant it in this soil today for 2 months, and you move it again to this one, and you move it again to there, it's going to grow a little bit or just a tiny bit, but it's never going to get to its full potential. And I guess what I'm trying to say is like, in the plant that's planted here will get to its full potential. And I feel like for DV children, because there's no transitional pathway, we never get to our full potential of what we could be. We get there by the fact that we work hard, our mother or whoever our parental supervisor is, however it is, because DV can help in both ways. You know, we get there because they're pushing, and it's resilience that pushes us. But there's no, I sometimes just feel like 100% more can be done. And I'm not, and it's not, and I'm trying to say, it's not also saying that the government aren't doing great, but I feel like my brother definitely could have benefited a lot more. I feel like even myself and my younger brother could have done so much more if my mum had a clear, had an environment that where she was emotionally stable, it was clean, her mind was straight, mental health was looked after. I feel even for my mum, and that's another thing, survivors of DV never get to their full potential if they don't have the right environment. I feel like my mum could have done so much more if she had the right support. Whether it's because she had to move before school, or whether it's even another thing that we haven't spoken about, access to funding. At that time, our stay, I don't know what it was on or what was going on. But even then, it's access to funding. What helps you? You don't feel scared. You don't feel scared of the police. You don't feel scared. So imagine feeling scared of the police, feeling scared of Home Office, feeling scared of this, feeling scared of... I can't even imagine living that type of life. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to do this for my children. And one of the memories as well, maybe I said it before, is like, I remember my mum being so sad in the room that we're in, and she had black bags. And she kept looking at those black bin bags and saying, is this all that I've got to life? And I used to be like, Mum, it's fine. Don't worry. You've got it. It'll be fine. And I was always so positive. And I was just like, it's going to be okay. But sometimes it was scary because you're seeing...
It is scary.
Her cry, you're seeing her upset. I don't know how to console.
It breaks you, I think, as a child. Really, I don't think any child should have to be exposed to that, because in a way you are now more like your support system to your mom, when it has to be the other way around. You are now the one who's encouraging your mom, because she's the one who's the victim of it. Like you said, she's the survivor, but at that point she's not a survivor. She's still like, feeling like I'm the victim. She's depressed and everything, and now you have to step up, and that shouldn't happen. But I mean, the points that you raise, really, really, really valid. Obviously, I don't know whether you're comfortable to talk about what your mom does now. Did she create? I mean, is she working? Did she have a career?
So sadly, my mom's story is very unique. She's a very loving. She was the eldest girl of my grandmother. So afterwards we moved. So the positive thing is we moved. We finally got and my sister finally got like a flat, which was our stable environment as we grew up in our teens and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was good. And then my grandmother came to my auntie's graduation, and then she had a stroke. So my mum became her main carer for 22 years or 21 years.
Okay.
And then as the elder, she was trying to navigate once again in a country that she didn't know, trying to navigate all of that as an older sibling.
Yeah.
So she went, so my mum, we moved from the Refuge, got a stable point. She stayed with me and my younger brother. And then guess what she did? She opened up her doors to everybody that came to help them and created a home for everybody. Like everybody came, like anyone that was coming from back home that needed somewhere to stay, had nowhere to stay, they would come. Even my sisters as well, when they came over, mum opened the door, to the point of where we were almost about 10 people in a 3-bed house, because she never wanted people to not have anything.
Because she knew of the trauma, what it meant. Of not having somewhere to stay. So she turned
her home into everything.
And she turned what was supposed to have hurt her or to have destroyed her into her strength. Yeah. Amazing
so
woman.
Then afterwards,
amazing. I would love to meet with her.
I'm gonna make her come on this show. You need a part 2, because her story is more phenomenal than mine.
Amazing.
And she would encourage everybody till today. But one thing I will say is the journey that was quite unique for us is it was a healing journey.
Yeah.
It came all the way around. You know, they healed and stuff like that, and also forgiveness.
Yes.
And I think one thing that people don't work on as well is, what we don't realize as DV children, and you've gone through it, you have to heal, because it affects you. And my mum made it her thing that forgive your dad. No matter what he's done to me, it's between me and him. Forgive him, because he's still alive and he's your parent. And sometimes as a survivor, that's hard, because the truth of the matter is, no matter what my dad has done, the young girl in me will always need my dad at some point. And my mum made us forgive him to the point of where, like, now I can call him and be like, Dad, and he's healed and he's had work. And what I realized is my dad himself, and when we go through history, he was abused by his parents. He grew up. So what you're seeing is generational trauma. And I used to be so upset with him and not understand. But when you take that time to heal, and ours was based also on faith, we're Christians, very strong Christians. When you take that time to heal, you realize like there's much more to just the person doing that. And generational trauma happens, like patterns happen for certain reasons, but why? And the only way you can break that trauma or break that pattern happening is if you address it. And my mom's so brave that she's just like, okay, fine, after everything went. And even for my sisters that are there, like, we're like proper, no one can tell us we got different mums or anything. We're so close. So even when my mum opened up the doors to them, we started staying. Yes, there's family dynamics and all of that type of stuff. But today, one of my best friends is actually my older sister.
Wow, amazing.
And then my other sister is very protective. My older brother's extremely protective. Those are your house. And then my brother, and like, those are my people.
Wow, amazing.
But my mum, despite that, still managed to be a good stepmom, a mother, a daughter who looked after her, because sadly my grandmother passed away this year. Beginning of the year.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
But it sounds like you're describing a real life hero, and I hope you do give her flowers while she's still alive. Don't wait until you're saying a eulogy at the end of the year, where you're saying, "Oh, she was an amazing." Tell her, because she has been brave to raise an amazing woman like you.
To be fair, I'm only here because of her. Like, she will always push us and be, oh, you can do more, you can do more. And you know, even as I say it, I feel, having seen firsthand what she had to go through for us to get accommodation, our stay, even just survive the DV. Like, I have seen this woman in the most compromising situations that no child should ever have to. And I'm here, I'll be like, no, I can do better. So when people are like, oh, Kim, you've got easy, I'm like, the backstory behind me is totally different.
Is the hero, is the survivor. Your mom.
You know that we say you stand on the shoulders of giants.
Yes.
My giant is my mom.
Is your mom. We celebrate 100%. Her. We celebrate her.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kim. We started talking about who Kim is, and to go back in history to see what you've gone through. These things could have broken you, but you didn't let them. You are here. You're a strong woman, and I believe that your story will inspire a lot more people. Your story, the story of your mom, will inspire a lot more people. But most importantly, I hope it gets to the right ears that we need a lot more support. We need to produce a lot more resilient people. And for us to be able to do that is to give stability to survivors of DV, give them the right support post refuge, give them homes that they can call their own, give them stability so that they can actually raise their children, that they can be reconnected with their children if they are separated, if they have to be separated because of going into DV. So thank you so much, Kim, for coming onto the show and sharing your story.
Thank you
really
so much.
Appreciate.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And thank you so much to our viewers for joining us today. And I hope you have enjoyed my conversation with Kim today, and hope you tune in again to our next episode. For now, thank you and goodbye.